We are red, red is on.
Okay, good evening. Let's bring the Selectmen's meeting of Thursday, March 29th, 2018 to order. We'll start with saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, let's see. So we've got the minutes. Winscom Country Store owner, parking proposal, PD body camera contract, public hearing, town administrator, and selectmen reports on the agenda. We'll start with the approval of the minutes for 3/22 of 18.
Pat, did you ever get up with Cindy about reserving the senior center date for the Boston Post game?
Yep, I'll give it on my selectmen's report.
Okay.
I did. Oh, you're not gonna be here. It's fine with Cindy. We're waiting on, we're waiting on the caretaker.
Okay,
Everything's fine at the senior center.
okay. Have you, okay,
I just haven't RSVP'd I gave her an approximate
okay.
number from here.
Because the caretaker came in the other day, we tried calling you, but we didn't get your phone, so she said she thought if the resident hasn't been out for a while, that it might be too much, but she's gonna try to convince her to go out. But she felt confident that she would be able to do that.
She would if I went up there, she would go.
Okay. Evidently, the caretaker's not gonna be able to attend.
Oh,
But she gave me names of.
the chief she'll go with the chief.
Perfect.
Really easy.
Okay.
We could get him to pick her up. Or me. Either
Or
one.
me, she'll go with me.
It's okay with that. But it was okay for her to go with the, because we have to ask her because she's the caretaker. I've been waiting for her to call me back.
On page 2, under town planner, somewhere in there, if we can put that Selectman Scanlon suggested that we clarify the ordinance to explain which is the left or the right side of the road.
Every night. That comes first.
We just barely got started. Good timing.
Okay.
On page 1, auctioneer showed after discussing, did we actually settle on that 11,000, or did we end the discussion by asking Joyce to get all of the costs?
And I really don't remember, that's what I'm asking.
I think we said 11,000, but we could amend that
But could have been
If-
that, right, after she got all the.
after the numbers was,
But there was no other figure that was brought up other than that.
She was gonna come back with the actual figures, but we settled on the 11 at that time, and then we would amend it.
So could we add that part that we would amend that? You know, maybe
Subject to
after
amendment.
the next sentence that talks about
Well, I
checking on
remember
law, right?
Peter saying he didn't want to make a decision until he knew what all the actual expenses were.
Page 2. The town planner diary, this is on the deputy fire chief discussion, very first sentence, way over on the right-hand side. Just need to get rid of one of the ofs. He spoke of.
oh,
It's just a little stutter.
of a,
And Captain Ryan Martin in the cruiser discussion, would you include, and I don't remember exactly what I asked, but I believe I asked the question, are we going to discuss whether there's a need for the cruiser or not? Because that would better explain why I voted no. Please.
is that like a repetitious redundancy?
On the top of page 3, having a hard time, Captain Martin reported the 2004 Crown Vic would go, however,
Yep, however, they would like to keep.
would go, oh, would be eliminated, because I've got go where? I get it,
Are they going to eliminate it or
be removed, I don't
be
know.
removed? Okay.
Then it says, however, they would like to keep the entire fleet, one for parts.
It's kind of a confusing
It
conversation.
was very confusing. I'm just trying to figure out if we could clarify it anyway, 'cause for those who weren't part of it. And then we have the captain explain the need for the new cruiser. Every year, the first new car goes in the front line. And then is the next, the front line adds, so we need another hyphen in between front line and the second front line.
Well,
Front line.
he would like to keep the entire fleet.
Not front line. I would say that front line car, which gets moved up.
Well, I think if you had just a hyphen there, so it's every year the first new car goes on the front line,
Mhm.
pause.
Oh, I got you.
The front line adds 40 to 60,000 miles, comma.
Okay. Gotcha. I see that.
Where you have, they would like to keep the entire fleet, in parentheses, one for parts. He initially said, however, they would like to keep the entire fleet, period. If need be, he would eventually like to keep, if he had to turn one in, he would like to keep one for parts, which would be a separate entity.
On page 4, Selectman Fogg asked about the tree bids. Can we just say tree bids for Manville Road?
Oh, sure, yep. That's about the tree roots.
And then Selectman Dawson, second line, Bittern Lane, where there's ongoing site planning, I don't think that should
I
be
was
in there.
confused about that because we
Yeah,
were
the
talking about.
property specifically to where this stuff took place is not being site planned. But I did talk about the site plan of the Edward property. I think we just need to eliminate that.
Okay.
And then I have a question, have we talked to Northfield about the short on the island and their participation in?
No, I wanted to know about the people. Are you aware of the what's not
Make you aware of the what?
what the cost was gonna be to have it repaired? You want to do that now, or wait till we?
Oh, no, we can wait, I was just curious, so, yeah, we can wait for your discussion, I was just curious.
Just wanted to look at yours.
Anything else for amendments?
Action.
Okay.
Anybody
Actually, it is.
entertain a motion? I'll make the motion to accept the minutes as amended.
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Nay. I'll have it. Okay. Doing good. And I think everybody's got a map of the parking area. So,
Do we know from this what's existing now?
are you from Winscombe School?
I am.
You are. Take a seat. On,
Up front here?
yep, I guess we can introduce ourselves.
Double now, aren't we?
We'll start this end.
It's eliminated.
And everybody can introduce themselves.
Yeah, I know who everybody is.
Do you?
They've gone up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, yep.
I don't think I've ever met
I don't
you.
think I've met you. I'm Doug Rollins. How are you?
Actually,
Nice to meet you.
So,
No, he's not. No. He's in Florida. Lucky guy.
so I heard that you've got some great ideas.
Yes, we hope.
It's a tricky area.
Yeah, it is. It's an area that's been kind of had some headaches over the last few years with the previous owners. Myself, Doug Rollins, and Craig Wiseman, my partner, just recently purchased the store. We're currently renovating it, doing extensive stuff inside and out. The whole picture at the end of this is to have that whole corner. We purchased the property next door, which has been currently it's the Adrenaline Motorsports, and there's an old dilapidated trailer, and there's another structure which used to be the old post office. Yep. Both of them are in really bad condition. They're both tear downs pretty much. So our plan is to work with the tenant currently, give him time to move out, but what we want to do is take those structures down, make a park-like setting right there. We have another dock on Lake Winnisquam, and we have a dock to the left of the store, so we'll be able to service 8 boats at a time. And what we hope to do is have the main store totally reface the entire thing and have it as an Adirondack log home style, and then have an ice cream shop right next to it, which will have homemade, New Hampshire homemade ice cream, kind of similar to what Jordan's is doing. So what we'd like to do is where the trailer and all that stuff is currently now, make that all grass, make it a nice area with picnic tables and have people be able to come from we're hoping from the lobster connection, people will eat and come down and kind of have that whole section all blend together and have them come down. We don't mind. We talked about the parking situation. We know it's kind of congested in and out of that store. There was issues with the neighbors coming in. I don't know if everybody's familiar with all the oddities that have come along with all the right-of-ways down in there.
Oh, yes.
Fighting.
We're very aware of it.
So everybody's getting along nice in the sandbox right now. We've talked with the neighbors to the left that had a lot of issues with the Montaltos. So far, they're up to speed with all of our plans. They're pretty happy with everything. The cleaning up that property next door is going to be nice too, because it's going to kind of get rid of all the congestion. If you notice on the plans, if everybody has a copy, there's an island which is technically owned by the town, which we actually, I guess, encroach upon. Yes. Correct? That island, we'd like to, just give it up, get rid of it and move our signs all back off of the town property and have that all parking straight across and clean that all up right all the way to the end of our other parcel, which would be very nice because it would get rid of the congestion and just make it nice.
So are you saying you wouldn't need that ingress and egress that's there now?
Yeah, we would need the ingress and egress, but what we would like to do is currently they changed it to a one-way, We'd like to move if you want to get rid of them altogether, that's fine with us, but if you didn't want to, we would like to see those one-ways pushed at least to the end of the other property, so our patrons could come in and go right or left easily and park all up and down that area. Because right now, it's a cluster, and even if they come in from the other side, I've talked with all the people that are up and down there. They're like, Doug, that's a good idea, because it'll alleviate a lot of issues. The only reason they were fighting about going into that one way was because of the congestion it was causing down in front of the lobster connection and all down in that area.
You wouldn't have
So,
room for that parking, because with the parking, as you see on that, it only allows for a one lane of travel.
right, well, what we were
So you'd have to
hoping to.
eliminate parking.
Right, we would like to eliminate all that on-street parking, just so people could, and we were even willing to give up some of our land for parking, but we didn't want to get into doing lot line adjustments with the town and stuff. We'd be more than willing to do it. That way, if you look up in front of where would now be with the trailer, you see where the parking is now, that would be where the Adrenaline Motorsports parking is. You know, we would own that, but we have no problem with moving the town parking forward more and getting rid of the on-street parking right there, and then allowing people all down that street to come right in and park in our area. That way people could back in and out easier. But
Doug, are you
Yep.
aware of the discrepancy in the boundary down as you get down by the motorsport in the corner of Winnisquam Market, and
yeah,
how much of that we actually own and part of that road?
yeah, it actually almost cuts the little corner of the store, right, or the
Right,
the ice machine or
In
something.
that motorsport one,
Yeah,
we weren't going to go there with the condominiums and the
right.
motorsport. It's almost half of their, a good,
Yeah,
Catherine,
that.
is probably a good portion of their lawn where they had all their trailers on there, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Were you aware of that?
I
No?
was a little
Okay.
bit, yeah, I didn't know how far in, but after I saw this plan, I'm like, wow, we could literally, if we gave up our island where the signs were, push that back, and then maybe, I don't know if the condominium complex would be willing where those bushes
It's past
are.
their entrance.
It's just past it, right? Yeah, if they would be willing to get rid of that little area. It's basically shrubs right now, I think it's just a big huge rhododendron bush.
Yeah.
So, and that would make it nice, and I guess, I don't know everything to do with this stuff down here by the lobster connection, but he was upset because they were gonna stop people, or the Adams Marine, or the Winnisquam Marine was upset about not being able to get trucks in, but I think they've rectified that
Yeah, with
issue.
the turning radius.
Turning
we changed-
radius.
Right,
Our public
And-
works director went down and worked.
Yeah,
yeah.
and Mark from the, I mentioned a little bit to him, but I didn't get into details, and I said, hey, if we do the parking all the way down, we have no problem with his patrons parking in our parking area, because they're gonna eat ice cream and then, or eat lobster rolls and then come eat ice cream. So, whatever works for everybody, we're fine with. The biggest thing would be for us is just if we get rid of, even if you get rid of 3 or 4 of the on-street ones, we could clean that all up, because with giving up the island, we could probably pick up another spot or 2, maybe. So, I don't know.
I don't think we can give up the island, though, because isn't that partly owned by the state?
I don't
the
know.
island?
That
No.
I don't know.
It's not? Did we
Are
figure
you
that
talking
out?
about in front of, what?
In front of the post office?
Used to be the old
Yeah,
post office.
yeah, yeah.
That,
Where we,
there's a flag.
down here?
In
Yeah.
front of where the motocross is, there's an area that they, I
There's
remember.
a
I remember
flag
when you did that.
pole.
There's
Oh, okay,
the
I
card
get it.
there.
I know where you're talking
There's a
about.
telephone pole, there's the Winnisquam sign, I mean, it's like.
I get what
really
you're talking about now,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
It would just be nice, because it would make it very appealing. I don't think you need to get rid of the telephone pole. We could, if we need to go underground, I don't have a problem getting rid of that pole, and then that way we'd even pick up even more. and we could do underground power from that pole to our ice
It's quite an
cream
expense to
shop.
go underground.
Yeah, I don't know, we'd have to look into it. We'd probably just leave it, because I think you start calling Eversource and about moving poles, it will probably be.
Depends on
like
who
pulling
owns it,
teeth.
yeah. It really depends on who
So,
owns it. But so you're suggesting to alleviate across where it says one way
Right,
and put more of the parking towards where your little mini island is?
right. So you could come in both and turn right into the, because what
Into the,
happens now, everybody.
establishments.
Yeah, everybody pulls into our store, and now you got a one-way, so you can't turn right, so everybody gets jumbled up in there. Now, with us owning this and doing the ice cream and a little park, sitting area there for the public or whoever wants to, they'll come off the boats and they can sit there and have ice cream, go to the store, walk over to the Lobster Connection.
Where are the boat docks gonna be? By the state
The
place?
one dock is over all the way to the left. You'll see a right-of-way. If you look on the plan here, this little spot right here, that's one dock.
Okay.
That's to the left of the store if you're pulling in. And then right behind the post office, you can't see it on here, but it goes back to the lake and there's another little dock out there.
Okay.
We're putting in 2 brand-new 45-foot docks that meet state regulations, but they're all gonna be brand-new and easy for boats to pull in and out on.
I think before we even consider changing or altering this parking plan, that we should have all the abutters down there in for another meeting.
Yeah.
They were all
Yeah,
involved
that's
in
fine.
creating this.
Yep.
Make sure that everybody's in it.
How did, I wanted to find out how the one-way thing came about. Was that more of an issue with the store owners?
Parking
or-
was
Well,
very
we
parking.
wanted to add parking.
Okay.
That parking didn't exist along
Okay.
the side.
Oh, okay, so in order to get that, they had to.
There was
There was
Happy
no
Heart on the
parking
road,
there, so
yeah.
you're losing, what, 11 spaces we added?
Yeah.
Which would increase, and the only way we could do it was to make the one-way,
Yeah,
so that you'd have parking on both sides, which would
Yeah.
increase it for both the
Yeah.
condo, the wood building, and the lobster connection.
would it be an act of God? Well, it probably would. I don't even know if I want to go down that road. It's giving the town land on our property so we could come forward more in front of the old post office and that trailer and have the parking come in a little deeper.
You don't have much more land to give.
Yeah. Well, yeah, well, keep in mind that trailer's gonna be gone. you
Right,
know.
so you said you have tenants now, so what would they do?
He's gonna be gone. We've given him notice that, we hope to have him out by the end of the summer. We're not pressuring him, we're like, hey, we know this guy, because, we just knocked on his door one day and said, hey, we own the property now. So, and I know Mark well, I've known him from town, so we want to give him time he wanted to relocate anyway, he's way overgrown that spot. And it doesn't look very good. I mean, there's junk tires everywhere and the trailer's full. I mean, they had a drug raid at that trailer or something, so it's been kind of, yeah, exactly, yeah. So
That whole area there.
yeah, so we just really want to make it nice. We want to do a nice country split rail fence across the front. And our hopes is to have it kind of like like I said, an Adirondack look, and have the ice cream. I think a lot of people were asking about ice cream, so we're like, well, what could we do there? And we figured a little candy shop and an ice cream parlor type thing, and have ice cream. But we're doing very well. We have a lot of local farmers all coming in and bringing we've got fresh eggs, we've got we're trying to do as much for the local people as we can, because it's a lot of out of state in the summer. So we have Krebs Farm with all their products in there. We got the Just Maple with all their products in the store. We just got Harmon's cheese from Sugar Hill, New Hampshire. We want to have New Hampshire made ice cream. Kind of a gift tourist thing more than just a store.
Yep.
We thought about a tiki bar right there too. Dari was hoping we'd throw that in.
Yeah, we've been, last year we were going to try and pave it.
Yeah.
As you know, it's in
Yeah.
pretty rough shape in the
Oh,
drainage.
it's bad, yeah.
And then with some complications of who owns that right of way between the state
Yeah.
and us and
Yeah.
tenant, other neighbors, we didn't get done last year, we
Yeah.
couldn't. So we've already put it out to bid for this year to get
Yeah.
it done. So
Yeah.
we'd like to get that done, and we want to move
Yeah.
forward in getting that done.
Perfect.
So, and it's, part of that is going to be contingent on getting everybody else together to be
Yeah.
happy, so
Yeah.
it works.
We're there to make friends with whoever. I mean, I don't think we're really gonna impact the condominium complex in any way. And our neighbors to the left, we already have that parking established, so really the only issue with us is for ease of coming in. And I don't really know how much it would affect us if we made them go all the way around on the one-way, but it would just seem to make sense if they pulled in, they could go right and pull in front of the ice cream, which is now the post office. But if we've got to give up 11 spots, I don't know if we want to do that either.
Would it make sense for, the people in the neighborhood to get together first and try and hash something out? And then we could have a public hearing here,
Yeah,
or an open meeting to see if everybody's on the same plan.
yeah.
And have Darry,
Notify them and everybody, and, yeah.
I think that's really
Yeah,
a good idea.
yeah, I think it'd be great. And pretty much everybody's loving what we're doing so far, so it seems to be, we don't want to make issues, we want to clean it up as much as we can. I think the biggest thing is that the piece that the town owns that all our signs are on. I mean, there's a post office mailbox, there's our sign, there's the Adrenaline Motorsport sign, there's a flagpole, there's a telephone pole, all on this little
Oh,
island.
yeah, I'm looking at it now.
And it's just a mess.
Okay, you got the stop
You know.
signs there.
The stop sign's there, now we got a one-way sign there.
Is that a telephone?
Yeah,
Actual
yeah, it's
dial?
an actual pole.
Is there a phone on it?
No, it's just it's a power line pole, a utility.
Just power.
Yeah, so,
There was some boxes.
but yeah, no, that makes sense, I mean, touch base with the abutters and,
Because we can't do anything about it, because we had them all here,
yeah.
trying to come up with a decent plan that's gonna
Did they like the one-way? They
resolve
came
the
up with
issue.
the
Yeah,
one-way?
we all came
Yeah.
up with it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
right.
It was the only way to increase parking, as I said,
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
if you not look at the parking on the lake side of this,
yep,
because a lot of that is over what people have encroached on. In
right,
order to put all that parking on the Route 3 side, it
right,
could only be a one-lane road.
yep, okay.
One of the biggest problems was the blocking of the right-of-way down the end towards the lake.
Yes.
And
Yep,
parking, and I
Yeah.
think you had a dumpster back there,
yep, correct,
Yeah.
yep.
and that was just very difficult along with,
Which it's funny
pedestrian
now,
traffic.
because I guess everybody was up in arms about the dumpster, so we moved the dumpster, and now the people next door that are in that house on the lake have their boat and their main vehicle sitting right in the right-of-way. And we're plowing for them, because they're in Florida, and we're like, if you could move that over a little bit, we could plow you out a little bit better, but, it's
good.
that's a convoluted little area, I guess, there's 3 right-of-ways on top of each other, and it's pretty crazy. So,
I like the
but
way-
we're open to suggestions, we're just trying to make it, because it's gonna be a very busy location and a very busy store, and if we put ice cream in there, it's gonna be really busy. Whatever we can do to maximize the parking's great. I just figured they would rather have them come in from this main light and turn, now that we own this, and turn and go in there instead of, because all that traffic, if you divert it down that one way, now you got even more people going down through, which I don't know if that would be appealing to them or not. I guess it doesn't matter.
So, how long do we need before we should schedule that?
We're around anytime, I mean, we can, whatever
2
you
or 3
want to do to
weeks, or,
expedite
I mean,
it.
you'd have some plans and talk to
Yeah.
everybody, kind of hash some stuff out?
Yeah, so we would, just so I understand, so I would go to the abutters and just knock on doors and ask them what their thoughts were, or should we schedule a meeting and?
Well, it seems like you have a big part of this plan.
Yeah,
And you're doing really well with
yeah,
getting everybody together on the same
Yeah.
page with this.
Yeah,
And they tried something else last year, and some were happy and
yeah.
some not.
The
That
only
if you could-
people I don't know is the condominium people, because a lot of those are summer people. I don't know how, or is there a representative at that condominium complex that?
Must be management.
There
I
must be
think
a
since they
president.
have their own parking on their own property.
Yeah, they're not
It
even,
really didn't affect them so
no,
much.
it doesn't
But you
really.
have different, definitely the marina,
Yeah,
they really needed less parking out there,
yeah,
so they could get in and out with trailers.
yeah,
The Lobster Pound needed more parking,
yeah, yeah.
so.
Yeah. I don't know if that would, with the lobster connection, would us doing this impede their parking? Or make it better for them?
They
If
need-
we said, hey, you can come over and park in our spots, if we opened it up and just said, well, it's actually the town spots really, because
You
it's gonna
also
be in the
have
town.
people that come in, that park their trucks and trailers there.
Yeah, 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 we get that. People, they come down there and unload for the store sometimes, But, yeah,
People just going on over to the state right of way just to fish off the rocks by the bridge.
yeah,
They'll park along there,
yeah.
so they're not even visiting the businesses, they're
Right.
just,
Well, that was one of the
Accessing the
reasons the
lake.
abutters to the left had wanted us to move our right-of-way over more towards the state right-of-way. We were a little leery because we want to keep the flow going in and out of the store and not coming in and camping out on the state right-of-way. And then rather, well, we'd have picnic tables and chairs and stuff over at the old post office area and have that be like a little park-like setting over that way, so. Yeah, I mean, we're open to ideas, but that's what we were hoping to do. And then the biggest thing is just hurrying up and getting the thing paved, because we end up with Lake Erie out in front of that store. It's
That's why we
awful.
want to keep moving
You
forward.
can't even get out of your
schedule a
car.
public
Schedule a
hearing.
public hearing in 2 weeks, I think.
Sure.
We'll
I think
get
that's
scheduling, I think 2 weeks would probably be. I don't know, we'll do it
Okay.
next week, but week after, or
sounds good, John.
And in the meantime, I'll reach out to abutters and ask them and let them know there'll be a hearing. Oh, will you guys notify them of that? Okay,
Yeah,
good.
I'll send letters.
All right, and I'll do some door knocking and see what I can find out. I
Yeah.
mean, really, I think the only one that really, it's just the Winnisquam Marine and then Mark, right? from the-
Yeah, find out if they're happy with this.
Mark,
If you can get it in segments, if they're happy with this or the way it is.
Yeah.
Well, the condo people too,
Yeah,
because they were here at the public hearing as
Okay.
well.
all right, okay.
I don't
What
think
was
that
their
they-
contention? Did they
They-
like it or no?
I don't think that there was a contention, I think it was mostly Mark in Winnisquam
Yeah,
Marine, but
I figured.
I think that they did voice an opinion and they were happy with the resolve.
Yeah.
I don't think that they really,
And Mark,
But
so,
we also had residents that don't live right on the strip, they live
Yeah.
behind.
right,
Right.
They
right,
also attended, they also had an input as to
Yeah.
the flow and,
yeah,
people blocking
Okay.
the flow.
yeah, all right. Well, we'll do whatever we gotta do, and if, whatever works for the better of the majority, right, I guess?
Yeah,
right,
sounds like we're,
John, can I ask
Sure.
a comment? I know that we have looked at, that the board had said we're not going to do anything with the encroachments because it was going to just take too long to move light poles and
Yeah,
what have you. But I think as you look at this, you can see where the lobster connection, where that's encroaching.
yeah,
I think there's areas of encroachment that could be paved over. We'd still leave cushion or buffer between where the light poles are, not moving the poles.
yeah,
But if the owner of the lobster connection and if the condos, if they wouldn't object to just trying to even that out,
right,
you could have more width.
yeah,
And since we're gonna be going in and paving, I mean, once this is paved and the drainage is in, you're not gonna see anything happen for, what, 20?
long
25
time,
years?
yeah,
15.
yeah,
And so this is
Yeah.
your one chance for all you
Yeah.
people down there to
yeah,
get
to
together.
clean that all up.
And it would be great, the less that we had encroaching on
Yeah.
town property.
And I think if I let Mark from the Lobster Connection know, if I say, Mark, you can send your patrons right down to the store parking. We have no problem with that, you know?
But just
We'll
make-
even throw them a free case of beer if we got it.
Just make it easier for the town to maintain.
Yeah, well, it'll be a nice clean strip, they could, even for
And
plowing.
you'd have more parking, you'd
Yeah.
have more width.
Yeah.
If we were going to do that, then we should simply notify all these people who are encroaching that we're going to reclaim our property,
Yeah.
remove the encroachment, and be asphalting. Because if you start asking to take back your own property, they're gonna say no. I mean, we should just simply notify them and do what we need to do to get it done.
And it's minimal impact, I think. I walk down there, and the strip in front of the condos, like I said, is literally a rhododendron bush.
Yeah, they're bushes.
They're bushes, and then on Mark's side, I think it's just a little strip of grass, and people park their trucks up on it in the summertime anyway to go into Mark's lobster connection. It's right on the fence, and they literally drive up on the dirt. There's no grass even there left because they all park on it anyway. So, I think it would kind of clean it up anyway.
Yeah, I think, yeah, there's a couple signs.
Yeah, there's a couple signs, and they've been driving right up on it.
Yeah, I don't think
No.
there's any other signs, it's just the, your property's signs.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
condo association has a sign.
Now, how would that work if the town came in? I'm just asking a question.
Yeah.
Would the town help us move those signs, or is that something you would say, hey, we're taking it and paving it, you need to get the signs off of it? Okay,
Yeah, it's town property, so we're not obliged to remove something that's been
Right.
illegally placed on town property.
is it illegally placed on town property though, where it's been so long?
No sign permit,
Okay,
there's no permission that was given. It's just strictly an
Didn't
encroachment.
they change that law? They changed it, they changed
Mhm.
the prescriptive rights law.
The prescriptive rights law, there
Yeah,
can no be
easement
no
by
more
prescription.
prescriptive rights.
okay. That's fine. We have an excavator, so we're gonna,
That's recent.
we can bring it over there and start ripping stuff down.
And then just one final question. So your easement, as I'm looking at this parking plan, would be to the left of map U1-5. That's your access to the water where your docks are?
I'm not quite sure what,
Whose easement is that
Right
goes
there.
across the backside of the Johnson's property? Actually goes right
yeah,
across their
that's
backyard.
mine, that's ours too.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that's, and then,
So our main dock area is right here, that's our dock.
Okay.
And then the other one
will now come out.
will now come out right here,
Okay.
yeah, behind the post office, the old post. It's kind of weird, it gets really thin, and then it's like this little strip.
I'm very familiar with it.
Yeah, yeah.
And last time when I spoke with Mr. Wiseman and Doug, had suggested how at one time the property owners had talked about getting a survey, where they would, jointly have that surveyed. And I think that I would recommend.
Yep, I don't think that's a problem at all. I've talked to Craig about that, just so we know, because I know the neighbors think the pins are in certain spots where they're not, and you know how that
Yeah,
goes.
and that's why we made
You know.
sure that the town bounds were clearly marked.
Yeah,
In fact, sometime when I'm out, we can go out there and I
Okay.
can show you where they are.
yeah. They made sure we knew.
Oh, they
When-
did?
Well, when they found out we bought the store,
Oh.
they approached us several times and said, just so you know, down here, you
Oh,
can't
you're talking
walk."
about the abutters?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I.
Well, you know what they say, if you want to know where your property lines are, ask your neighbor, they'll tell you.
But we actually
All
have
that
it
stuff
surveyed.
is-
Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
great.
section.
Yeah, so I don't have a problem with doing that, with hiring a surveyor.
Well, just a suggestion.
Yep,
Yeah, we'll make sure we're
yep,
all
I think a good one.
But maybe when the weather's nicer, we can.
Meet out.
Get down
Yep.
there.
All right,
Sounds great.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, thanks.
thank you.
Well,
All right.
I'll work with the board and we'll schedule a public hearing and we'll notify everybody.
Excellent. And if you need anything from us, let us know, and I'll start knocking on doors a little bit.
Most that can get resolved prior to going to the meeting is the best.
Yeah, then we have less chatter. Yep, all right.
We'll get- Excellent.
Excellent, all right, thank you for your time, appreciate it. Yeah.
Doug, I need my map.
Okay, the next thing we have is
Well, we'll always will
the
be-
PD body
Joyce, I have
camera contract. And I'm guessing that's why Tim's here.
Yeah, and Chief is on his way, he was supposed to be here as well.
All right.
But I can go over the basics with you. So, oh, perfect. I'll give you a minute. So, where we are right now, we're in the, or beginning the fourth year of a 5-year contract with Axon, which are the makers of not only tasers, the weapon, but also the Axon body cameras. And they, pardon me, renamed the company about a year ago to Axon, but this is Taser International. I named them better by that name. In any event, we're at a point where, because of the cost of repairs of the existing cameras that we have, and the failures that we've had in terms of batteries and difficulty getting parts through them, which we have to pay for the existing contract, we're looking at an estimate of about $1,700 to repair the 4 that we have now. And next year we'd be looking to replace the body cameras and negotiate a new contract at the end of the term. So this contract that we're proposing would replace the existing agreement that we have, and it would be a new 5-year agreement. The cost is higher in the first year. It's about $3,600 more than what we had budgeted, a little bit more than that. And but it includes all new equipment. It also includes what they call the Taser Assurance Plan or Technology Assurance Plan, which is no questions asked replacements during the 5 years. If you lost it and ran over it with your cruiser, what have you, they'll replace it and also provide us new technology as, say, the Axon 3 comes out or 4 or what have you during that time. The let's see. The subsequent year costs are about $2,000 more. These cameras are also high definition as opposed to standard definition cameras that we have currently. And the importance of these cameras can't be overemphasized, not only from terms of liability, but also the fact that we use these as our in-car video cameras as well. So they serve a dual purpose.
12-hour battery life to the new ones.
The new ones.
When is our contract up?
Next year.
The end of next year.
The end of next year. When do you have to have an answer on this?
Well, we'd like to have it in April to be able to, to affect this change so we don't have to make our 4th year payment. We can apply that towards the 1st year of the new contract.
Do we have our current contract in this?
No, but it is on Google Drive and I can supply it to you if you like. So this particular quote is for 10 cameras. They also provide us with a replacement camera to start.
And the 10 cameras include the detective?
No, so the detective cameras are included in the technology assurance plan, though. So we already have those 2 cameras, and those are the newer technology.
Okay.
So how much extra every year? If we answer number?
It's about $2,000 per year additional in subsequent years.
And just the first year is 3,000?
$36.25, I think, right? And that's primarily because there's equipment up front. It's all new equipment, that we'd be getting. So the first year cost is a little bit higher.
Everyone gets new equipment
Everyone,
Everyone, yeah.
the first year.
Yes.
everybody, yeah.
So we had the equipment 4 years.
4 years.
How many times has it saved our butt?
A lot. I mean, I've talked to everyone in the department, from patrol to prosecution. It's hard to put a number on that because you just know that a lot of things go good. And I actually typed up something, I just passed it to the board to kind of explain the thousands of contacts we have a year, 600 to 700 arrests a year, all of those recorded. I think because they are recorded, a lot of things go right. I think there's a less likelihood for use of force. And the prosecutor said that, with all of those arrests, 640, 650 arrests a year, they all are entitled to discovery automatically, is the video. And with evidence.com, Jesse's able to send them a download link where they can just capture it quickly. He said if he had to hand download all of those arrest videos, it would take hours and hours and hours.
It also tracks the chain of control on all those. So anytime someone accesses it, it puts a log in there. So he can see when a defense attorney has looked at something, or if he's supplied it and they haven't looked, he'd be able to tell that they had not accessed it. So it's more than just digital storage. It's a whole storage management piece.
He said like Judge Gordon will look at video for like a DWI and he could see, just looking in the video, that the driver shouldn't have been driving, he's impaired. He can see it in the video and he's impressed by the quality of it. And a lot of times Jesse said that defense attorneys will look at the video and just enter a plea. So that's saving us money. We don't have to send an officer to court. It's saving Jesse money and time. And so we either get a plea or we're more likely to get a guilty with good video. So there's just a whole bunch of, I say, unintended benefits of it too.
So if we're getting good video now, why would we spend that much more
Yeah, so
to change it?
I think
Especially when it
after,
hasn't been turned on
yeah, it's kind of like
in several instances.
yeah, they liken it to like a cell phone. Eventually the batteries start to go where they don't last a whole shift anymore. Eventually some of the parts aren't replaceable anymore. We have the very first generation of cameras, and they get used under extreme conditions, weather, arrests, foot pursuits, wrestling with prisoners. And so, parts get broken, they get damaged, battery lives get shorter and shorter where they don't make it through a whole shift. So when we started talking about starting to replace them piece by piece, that's when we started to consider the TAP program as a viable option.
Right, and the issue of if they're not on, that's obviously a policy, and
Which I see now, it says it's updated on today's agenda, but someone was supposed to come and talk to us about the updated policy. Captain? John, you had asked the captain to talk to us about policy after somebody wanted to buy their own camera.
Yeah, we talked about that a while ago, and they ended up returning that camera and buying one that would officially be.
But did we ever hear about an updated policy? I see it's
No,
written on here
we didn't.
today, but,
No, that's the tire deflation device policy.
and then underneath it says,
Body camera policy is on Selectmen's dashboard, because they were wondering where the policy was,
Oh.
because we didn't have it, but we did have it because it's on the Selectmen's dashboard.
so it hasn't been updated.
No, but it's on the dashboard.
Yeah, it's accurate now.
I don't know
There's no
if
So,
we need to.
What does the policy say about camera use? Are they supposed to have that camera on when they get out of the cruiser to approach an accident or a stop? When are they supposed to have the camera on? Because as Ashley said earlier, and maybe you didn't hear it because you didn't comment on it, we've had a lot of incidences where the camera wasn't turned on, and it seemed to at least me that the camera should have been turned on.
Yeah, it was
So
never,
we had a couple of accidents just recently where there was no film.
when we started meeting with legislators in the ACLU over the debate to use them or not in New Hampshire, we had lengthy talks in Concord about it. it was never anyone's interpretation that they would run all the time with every contact we have. And so, because people didn't feel like if they're walking down the sidewalk and they stop and talk to me, they don't want to be recorded.
No, but if there's an
so-
accident, especially an officer involved,
Right, so, you know, if
isn't
it's,
that what we're,
if it's
doing
something that would be evidence of a case, or something where it's a use, could result in a use of force, or a situation's escalating, domestic violence situation, all of those things where you think that that's going to become important in evidence, your presence there, then they turn them on.
and I think that
so-
was our, concern, that an officer-involved accident, that's something, we're paying for this, that's something that can protect us, having this camera, and it wasn't turned on. So to me, shouldn't that have been on at that time?
Well, we,
So that's why I think we were,
Right,
we
right.
need a policy, what's going on, and then we never got an update.
yeah,
I think we should be looking at that and reviewing it, because I think we might have different ideas on what the policy really says here.
yeah, the captain, after that, the captain did go over it with everybody.
I think that's it.
And
But here's
we
the
brought
thing.
it up in the supervisor
What's
meeting,
it
that the
mean?
supervisors would turn it on
Body
going,
camera
because we don't
policy
record
for
every
February
accident.
8th, I think, was it February 8th?
400 or 500 accidents a year, and we don't record them all. If you get into a minor fender
Chief
bender
Corner.
and Tanger outlets, we're not gonna show up and record that whole scene. We don't, and generally when we start.
Even though those videos might be helpful for the insurance companies after the fact?
Yeah, there was a lot of talk about it. There were people passionate that we not, the ACLU didn't want us recording everything we do.
Traffic stops, yes or no?
Traffic stops, yes, it's 15.
I agree somewhat with the board. We had a policy that was a written policy when we purchased the body cameras. If in fact ACLU has a suggested use of them, a change to which we were using them, and that the officers themselves, particularly the command staff, feel that we should not be using them all the times that it says in the policy, and the policy needs to be updated. We are not privy to those updates. We haven't been privy to those updates since the first time we bought the body cameras, and that's an issue.
It should be, I thought we shared it on Google Drives with everybody.
See,
Well, just sharing something on Google Drive and not telling us that we're aware of it and that there's an update available doesn't give us an impact to say it's updated and
Well, we
it's
asked the
available.
captain to come back, and I don't recall him coming back.
We did ask the captain
And
to come
I
back.
think we discussed it a few times, that we haven't heard anything.
I can remember when this first came out, and I'm looking, and there were some amendments that were to be made. And I'm looking at this policy that's on Google Drive, and I can look back at the notes, it don't seem to reflect it, because this says the Axon Flex camera should be utilized during
Right.
all law enforcement. We
That's
voted to
correct.
change it to shall be used instead than should.
Right.
So this policy that's here doesn't match what we agreed on.
And we brought that
We
up to
changed all the
you.
shoulds to shall.
We brought that up to you and the captain. And you were gonna update it, you were gonna come back to us. That's never been done.
Yeah, I'll have him come back next week. I didn't know that he was supposed to be here this week, so.
Well,
About the
I don't think
policy.
he's supposed to be here this week. This was a while ago.
Year or so ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll get him in here.
Pretty close to a year ago.
Well, this is a couple of years ago. When we amended this policy, it was right, and deciding on it was 4 years ago.
Yeah, yeah, the one that shows uploaded as of February 2018 is actually, the policies, the effective date shows February 15. So,
So we might have two different policies out there. Do you remember?
obviously, the equipment is only as good as when it's active and on.
So if we're not using it, there's no sense upgrading.
I would advocate that all day long.
No, that, I mean, we are, that, I'm looking at that, the language that's right there. Flex on camera should be utilized during all law enforcement contacts, i.e. pedestrian, vehicle stops.
I know specifically that we said it must be changed to shall, because we didn't want anybody to say, well, it doesn't say I have to. We want to make it very clear that that's our policy when it must and it shall be turned on.
So you've been asking for an update for a few
Well, we decided on that. I don't know why the policy still reads like this.
It says the axle flex cameras shall be worn at all times. They have some exceptions here, you know, where you're interviewing a victim of a crime, investigative interviews.
Yeah. It's a,
So I don't think any of those
So,
exceptions really explain why officers weren't wearing them when they were at those accidents where we asked for the movie and couldn't have access to it.
So I would think that with new equipment, would there not be training? And also during that training for the new equipment, would it not be reinforced, the policy as to?
With the issuance of the new equipment, they review the policy and sign off on it. So.
couldn't
We
we
have to
read?
have the language
And
changed in
have
the policy.
it changed prior to that,
It really
right?
wouldn't be a review since it wasn't in the policy.
Right. But at the same time, it sounds like that's a training and, management
Didn't
accountability.
they have training with the first cameras?
Mhm.
So yet we know there's times that,
And there was,
Should have had one.
and specifically, if something didn't happen, they were supposed to file a report on it if they didn't use it. I think report to the captain.
Yeah, if they violated policy and they
Fine.
didn't record something by the policy, absolutely.
Or if anything got erased or damaged,
I mean,
or, and then they were supposed to report if there was any problems with any of the equipment not working prior to going on their shift. That was one of the ones too.
In, like, from 2015 to 2016, they recorded 2,641 videos. In 2016 to 17, 3,555 videos.
Nice.
So, I mean, they're using them.
Chewing up that space.
Well, the Axon Flex 2 cameras are high definition, so the evidence.com portion in this, this has also been expanded to account for, greater resolution. There's also slightly wider field of vision from the current cameras as well.
can you explain the $7,425.15 of discounts? Because I can't find it in this. Maybe I'm,
It's on the very last page.
oh, is it on the back page?
Well, the summary page of the
Okay,
quote.
but I don't see it itemized.
It's at the very top, under discounts. US dollars? Itemized? No.
Well, yeah.
So they took a percentage.
So
Well-
the 46,606, they're giving us what, or
Well-
they're just saying,
Well,
okay,
I can point out
instead of
to,
everybody else who's paid 46,606, Tilton Special?
no,
or
I can point out, well, I can point out some of these. If you look at there's a column, list unit price, and then a net unit price. If you were to look at where the cameras are located, at the bottom of page 1, where it shows 9 Flex 2 cameras, $449 is the list price, and they're charging us $89.80 a piece. So if you go through and sum these different items, and then they took some additional off. So,
Like above the dog?
right. They clearly
Somebody
have a
thinks they're
great
heavy
control
negotiating?
over this market. So they make their money, I believe, in the subscription to evidence.com. That's where they really.
You mean because we're paying for air?
Well, if you read any of their investor reports, that's where all the excitement is. It's not in the actual hardware. But they do recoup money for the hardware, obviously. But again, this includes the technology assurance plan for those 5 years, so we have the ability to replace any of those with current equipment, and we qualify for, if there's a new product out in the next 2.5 years, we'd get that new product at that time, halfway through the agreement. So again, this is something for your consideration, and we would just like to try to determine, if this is something that makes sense to go with. I mean, if you look at the fact that we'd be spending roughly about $1,700 to repair what we have now versus $3,625 to go to the new contract for the first year, we're looking at a net difference of about $1,900 there. So. And then everything is covered, with that. So if we had more repairs, we'd spend more money. If we had fewer repairs, obviously less money, and there'd be more of a delta. But the plan would be to pay for this out of the equipment purchase line in the police department's budget. And in looking at the recent budgetary savings that we've had through medical buyouts, and hiring at a lesser wage than some people that have left in the PD, that we have more than enough money to cover it within the police department budget. But I would also be looking towards the end of the year, when we have a clearer view of our detail fund, making a recommendation to allocate some of that expense to the detail fund, depending upon how well we've done this year with it. So if we have a really big year with details, then we could allocate some of that to the detail fund.
What was the total value of the contract we're currently in now?
It was, off the top of my head, it was about $25,600. So this is roughly about $10,500 more, the net.
And were our payments $5,400, except for the first year
Except-
we paid more?
That's correct,
And
yeah.
after that, so we're budgeted this year for $54,
Yeah.
and next year we'd be budgeted for $54, if we went forward with it?
Yes, it's very close to that, plus or minus.
No, next year we'd be, you said it was gonna be 2,000.
In the new contract. So we'd be looking at about, so the new contract has the subsequent year payments $75.39 each year, as opposed to $5,400.
But if we didn't go with this, we'd
It'd
be
be
paying
54.
$5,400 for the old contract next
That's
year.
correct, yep. Plus
Approximately.
Plus the
whatever we pay for
repairs.
repairs, yeah.
Right.
I'm not concerned about the repairs,
Okay.
that I'm figuring, but thank you.
I would be highly in favor of it, but I really want to look over the contract, and I would really like to at least have another week or two.
Absolutely, yeah,
The,
absolutely.
We updated our cameras in Riverfront, we've updated them here, and, to have them on our offices,
This is a
And-
huge cost.
it is a huge cost, but, look at the liability. I mean, we even have them on our buses now, and we're saving liability. This is the times now.
One video could save a lot more than the value of these.
Right.
And I think that it discourages people from saying, oh, he did this.
Right.
They know that they're on camera, they're like, you got me.
Yeah.
You got me, right
Yeah.
But
there.
I really don't
Okay.
want to make a quick decision tonight and just do it. I would like to see the old contract as well.
I will email it to you as soon as I get out. It is in your Selectmen's dashboard under agreements,
Okay, I can look at
and
that. I can look it up.
under either body camera or taser. I believe it's under taser, which was their name at the time.
And also an updated policy.
I'm going to take a look, because I noticed that there's some places in the contract further down that it does say shall, so I don't remember what we decided on, if that was the edited, maybe we can see what the,
I don't think we went across the board to say shall on
Just
all of
some
them. There was
places.
just a couple of places that we said shall, John.
because I see that down,
I remember there was just a couple of,
because I'm looking at, under policy, it says
Right.
shall, so maybe,
Yeah, I know he
maybe this is the updated.
told me he made the changes,
Mhm.
he
Right.
emailed out the changes, and
So we currently have 4 that are inoperable, so
Hanging.
if it's at all possible, maybe if we have everything to, maybe next week we could decide, I mean, because otherwise we'd want to send them for repair, the ones that we have.
I think you're gonna have to give us the information we asked for before next week,
Absolutely,
if we're going to be looking at it.
right.
And
Well,
So-
well, either way, your policy would be updated, because it sounds as though the policy that's in place right now, at least the one that you're looking at, isn't exactly what you thought it was. So I wouldn't hold it up based on the policy.
Well, I think.
I'm not sure, it might be, I just haven't.
Oh, okay.
I'm getting a sense from the chief that it's not just shall. There are some very specific times when, in the policy, that you're saying that it says wear them, and you're saying it would be more of a liability to the officer not to wear them because of what you've gathered from information from the ACLU and from your command staff. So if that's the case, I would really like to see that policy changed and updated and brought before us so that we could either approve it or make the changes.
I mean, last time we had these talks, I know the cap made changes and
Mhm.
emailed them out.
Right.
And so it should be updated.
well,
I mean, I'm saying
it
it's.
isn't, what it should have been.
So,
Well,
So
unless
if we're
it's-
gonna
next
get new,
week.
clear, high def, if those things all take place, we really should have an updated policy along with it,
Right.
right? In conjunction with, and everything is smooth and out there.
so next week we could go over this, and then next
Agree.
week we'll have any updates or changes to the
Agree.
policy, and maybe put some time aside and go over those,
Yeah.
and get the whole thing, decide on what we're gonna do with it. Or at
Well,
least update the policy part.
Well, yeah, I mean, it would reflect in the policy the new camera that we're using, so that would change in there anyway.
Well, I would think regardless of whether, they're 2 different things as far as I'm concerned, because you would have an updated policy.
They
or
are.
the policy the way you want it for whether we stay with the Axon 1 cameras or go to the Axon 2. So I really see it as 2 different things. It's more, I just don't want to make a payment this year that, we're going to have to somehow undo later on this year.
When is our next payment due?
It's due at the end of April.
8, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so it would probably be best if we could decide in the next week, if that's possible. And if it's not, then, 2 weeks from now, but.
I don't see why we can't.
We
If
should
you
get
send us
pretty
out the
close to
information.
knowing what we're gonna do next week.
So,
Now, one other question, the old cameras, what happens with them? Are they back for, backup standbys? We
Trade-ins?
keep 'em?
They won't take them as trade-in, either that or, we could seek to sell them for parts, for those that,
The ones that are working?
I suppose we could.
eBay 'em?
sounds like a garbage,
Maybe they have other
recycle.
I looked,
repurposed
I-
for,
I
they're
searched.
battery operated, right?
Well, I searched high and low to
These
see,
cameras.
if we could purchase, thinking there were other agencies that were getting rid of their Axon 1 cameras. I couldn't find surplus Axon 1 cameras. I couldn't find surplus Axon 1 parts. And I think it's because the generation, it was their first foray into body cameras. I think down the road, they'll probably, there are many more agencies. I think, weren't we the first in the Lakes
One of the
region?
first, yeah.
So we kind of jumped the gun?
No, not at all, not at all, but I think because, it hadn't been out for 5 years. If it had been out for 5 years, we probably could have gotten lots of surplus parts or things like that, but I looked high and low, and I couldn't find anything.
But there might be a smaller town that doesn't have as many officers as we do, that maybe this system would
It's very
give them
possible.
as a test, as a
Yep.
tryout, or maybe they have a couple of cameras, and they'd like to take ours and whatever.
Not to
Better
mention,
than just throwing them in the
If they're
garbage.
battery operated and they
But-
film, they could be surveillance tape. You could put them in the bushes.
So I'm trying to ask what I would like to see, because I made a vow to myself that I'm not gonna overspend this budget, and that's really what you're asking us to do.
Overspend the line, not
Okay,
the
well,
budget.
Well, no, it's overspending the budget. So I would like to know, the majority of the board voted to purchase the cruiser. So you know what those costs are going to be this year for the cars that we have. And then looking ahead, I'd like to know if this can be taken out of the detail fund and for following years. It's going to have a strong bearing on my vote.
In the following years, that would be difficult, based on the plan that we've had in place for the cruisers
Maybe
since
automatic purchase of a car every year.
since 20, I think we started this in 2014, started this plan. And that would be difficult without a significant increase. But in the model that I did last week, looking at our revenues for this year, I estimated 80% of what our average year had been. So I was being very conservative in looking at how we would end up the year, and still having more than enough to pay for the commitments this year, plus half the payment starting in July of the new vehicle. So I do feel that was pretty conservative. I don't think, off the top of my head right now, as long as our receipts remain strong for detail work, that we couldn't pay for this additional amount for this year, for the first year,
39
the 3625, that I think we could cover that through the detail fund this year. I think it's very possible, but that's why I want to wait until later in the year to see what we can allocate to it, to see what our actual experience is with revenues and receipts from that.
Because whatever we decide here not only increases this year's budget, but the next 4 years after that.
That's right. So but where we have budgeted these body cameras has been in the IT budget up until now. So each year there's been roughly $5,400 of expense in that budgeted there. So to say that we're going to take the entire $7,900 or $7,500 rather, and pay for that out of the detail fund each year, if I understood you correctly, that would be challenging, I think.
The other thing too is I do get sometimes grant money from companies in town, and one of them I've talked to them about it, but they wouldn't be doing anything till the end of April. So at the earliest, so if that money comes in, that would offset this increase.
And it is possible that we might be able to pay for the differential between what we have budgeted in our operating budget through the IT department and what the new subsequent year cost would be. I mean, that may be a possibility, that $2,000, but to do the entire amount, that would change my whole view on the timing of cruisers.
Okay. We'll eagerly wait to hear.
Do we need a hearing if we were to take it out of the
Taking
detail
out the
fund?
detail fund, we have to have a hearing, public hearing. Just like we needed to have a public hearing before we purchased the cruiser out of the detail fund. Oops.
Which is
Tonight.
tonight at 6:15.
And as I said, were we to do this now, we'd expense it to the PD equipment purchase line, and then in the September-October timeframe, look at reallocating some of that to the detail fund, at which time I would think that would make sense to have the public hearing at that point, once we knew how much we were going to look to expense there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Great, thanks.
If you have 5 more minutes to,
Yeah.
I think Washington finished the process, the detectives, and I thought I needed just to brief the board quickly for results.
Karen, do you have one for Joyce?
Right.
Just a non-public, chief?
Are you gonna take action on it?
I don't know that it necessarily has to be unless we talked about other people.
Well, if we're
We're
going
going to talk about the
to
process, but,
critique
right.
the candidate,
I mean, if you had questions, I would
That's-
say,
if we're just gonna
If
sit
there's
there
going to
and
be
smile.
questions, then
then
probably.
probably. Yeah.
Wow.
If we
More
can-
comments?
Well,
Yeah, I have a question.
I would hate to see this one come out of the community portion of it, but
I have a question.
I'm thrilled.
about it.
You want to,
Do we want to go into non-public or no?
yeah, go ahead.
I don't know.
Never
my question-
possible to avoid it, if there's,
Okay.
but if,
I mean, I-
if
Sounds like
there's,
we-
if there's stuff that we
My
need
question
to
is
do.
gonna be, why this person, because this is like one of our newest.
Yeah, then we should probably go in.
And I think the total experience with this person
I don't
is
think you're gonna avoid it, John.
less than the majority
Just
of
trying to
our
avoid it because
officers.
this will be the first one that I've had to do in non-public, and
So
I
you
thought I'd
go-
get through the whole year without doing one,
Personnel.
so. and
The whole
I
year
need to-
without doing one? You're funny.
I'm only in the second week, I guess, at this already.
It's in your folder, John, there's a cheat sheet in your folder.
My cheat sheet, that's on one before.
In your folder, right there.
Yellow paper clip. Thanks, Ken. You set me up for this. No, not set me up.
I know, you're
but You
welcome.
got me
I said
all
you're
set.
welcome.
Okay. So, I guess I would start here. I would go, I move to enter into non-public session for the purpose of discussing A, right, so that's
Personnel.
Personnel,
RSA 91,
colon.
colon 3A, paragraph 2A, personnel. And that's my motion.
Second,
Second?
I did.
And
This one,
all the, okay, roll call vote.
Dawson, yes.
St. John, yes.
Scanlon, yes.
Fog, yes.
Constantino, yes.
We are red is on.
Make a motion to seal the minutes of non-public session as pertains to personnel permanently.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? So moved. So this,
You're the best.
we collect these back?
No, there's nothing
Nothing on there?
derogatory or,
There. Good. Okay, being 6:15, we're going to open the public hearing of spending money from the detail fund to purchase a new cruiser.
oh, how's like, so far?
Do we have enough chairs for everyone?
We do.
Everybody in order?
We never put it out there. Like we don't, our public hearings, we don't,
We just posted.
yeah, it just goes on the agenda, we don't. And we probably should think of doing that when we have public hearings, not just like this one, but all our public hearings, if we really want the public to attend, we should put it out there.
If that's changed.
What's that?
The Facebook page, we talked about it, or we talked about that one.
Well, is there any more discussion on the detail fund, so we can just straighten it out, and then after that, get on with the rest of the meeting while the public hearing's open?
If I may, I can just let you know that I'm waiting quotes for the financing. The numbers that I used,
Tim, can you please step up?
Yeah. It's not for us, it's for all the,
oh, I know. So the numbers that were in last week's payments had to do with a quote that I received from our primary bank at 2.49% over 3 years. And I'm waiting on other quotes from other people. But otherwise, what we put in the model last week and what we anticipate having to spend out of the detail fund is pretty much in line with at least that first quote, and we'll see if we can do any better than that. So it looks as though I would think during April we would look to finalize, and I'll have a recommendation for you as to which financial institution and what I got back from the different groups, and then so we can finalize that and get the financing started. And as far as I know, I think we're looking at somewhere in a May delivery for the vehicle and a June upfitting, from what I understand from the captain. So it's pretty much in keeping with when I thought our first payment would be, which would be in July.
As long as none of the outfitting is done by, who's the company that has our truck hostage? Donovan?
Fairfield.
Fairfield. Yeah, Fairfield. Who's been holding on to our truck for 7 months now and hasn't delivered it. I just thought I'd put a plug in for them. They annoy me. Yeah, that's good. Along with the detail fund, the vehicles, I know I've been watching the reports on the mileage, and it seems like that's pretty well under control, and they're aging gracefully and sifting down through there.
Can I answer that in my official capacity?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, I keep a close eye on things. Kevin and I have a pretty good system worked out, and try to keep right on with the mileage, belt changes, all that stuff. So.
So I don't know if anybody else looks at that, but
No, I wish we didn't get that every week.
I enjoy
It's
it.
kind of.
I look at it because you're doing such a good job that,
It's like spam.
It's automated, but
I know, yeah, I assume, I hope so, I hope you're not.
Poor John has fought for that for years.
I know.
But every people,
Nate's doing such a great job at it. He deserves to have it seen what he's
It used to go
doing.
into a report in the computer, Selectmen's place, car park.
well, he's doing a good
Dashboard.
job. Do we still need it?
And rather than coming to us every week by email.
Well, when you see what it is, just hit the archive if you don't want to read it.
No, I do, but
She wouldn't let him do that.
I'm like, oh,
I think you can automate that function for
Oh,
someone to have to
I
go
like
to it.
it. Back in the day,
Mileage.
select all, delete.
it doesn't have to be emailed if the board wishes not to receive it by email.
I would prefer not to. Does anybody else?
I don't mind it either way.
I enjoy it.
I'm ambivalent, but if Ashley would prefer it not to come email, then my vote would be no email.
Well, wait.
But it would be, it'd still be
John.
there if you choose to
I'd like it.
oversee it.
Put it on the drive for John, so he can see it every week.
there. It is there.
Get it on the drive for John?
It's just saving him the having to hunt to find where it is.
Oh,
I mean, you don't have to print it. It's just there.
Yeah, okay.
I delete it.
It's not like, yeah,
I read it and delete it. I don't need to save it. I
constructive.
do appreciate the effort
But it's
that
like
was put into that.
Email fatigue.
Where do you file them? Where do you file them? In the computer?
In the car park.
dashboard, Selectmen's dashboard, right?
They're generated and just,
You've
Send
told
out.
them
I'll
you-
take care of it. So I'll let you, I'll arrange it so that it meets with everyone's expectations.
I don't mind. I do look at it.
If I had a choice, I'd rather not.
Don't worry, I'll take care of it.
I mean, I see mileage report, but is that where they archived? Oh, well, that's 2013.
Name it.
Let's move on.
Scoop them
Yeah,
all
so-
up and clean
no,
it
our
up.
public- here's our public hearing on the detail fund, and we're worried about email. So we can, we'll talk to Tim personally and decide if we get some.
Well, we're in our public hearing. Maybe this is an opportunity to have a discussion about how we should better publicize public hearings. Like when we did one on the streets, we're going to do one soon on Winnisquam. We're assuming that only those people that live there would be interested in attending. But if we put it more out there and, post it in other places, I know
Facebook?
we might get, like, on our budget public hearing, when we have a public hearing for the budget committee, and nobody attends.
Right.
It is because we're not
Putting
getting it out there
Right.
enough.
You know,
So from Northfield talking.
Second week in a row, I agree with Catherine. That
Oh, it must be the
Praise
weather.
the Lord.
well, how do we do it presently? We put it, our agenda's on the sign out front, right?
Correct.
And it's published on the website. Big major things we've put in the newspaper. We notify abutters when it directly affects abutters.
But what's the Tilton talking thing?
And
What is that? I hear
Gotta
people
use
talking.
face page.
Yeah,
You have to
Well-
use Facebook.
but you have to, it's a closed.
But most people do.
It's a closed group, so you have to ask to be part of it.
Oh.
I'm not a part of it.
I think,
But,
But I mean, that's not
but
official.
if the board would like,
Tim, can
we
we,
can have a Facebook, there are some other social media accounts that I've reserved for the town if we ever want to use them, so we can do Facebook and Twitter.
I think, yeah, let people know what's going on.
I'm thinking of our police committee. They've asked me several times about getting it out there, like the Riverfront Park Committee did.
We've done one.
They made us-
So if
Facebook,
we
yeah.
could create something that would really send it out to get
Alert
people
now.
engaged. And our town meeting, I'm sorry, our town meeting was pathetic as far as attendance. I just think we have to engage the public more.
Do you have the PD, the police building committee one set up already?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's up.
Yeah, I already liked it.
Yeah, I've never seen it.
Can I
Could-
post to it?
So you didn't get the invite?
Does so does the board
You gotta
wish
look
to
for it.
have Facebook and Twitter?
Yes.
I do, yeah.
We
So what
do.
if you don't have social media? What if I'm an elderly
Are you
person with
antisocial?
no computer?
Well-
What if I'm
It's
antisocial?
another avenue.
What else could we do?
well, here's what we have. We have,
Bulletin board.
and let's, one at a time. Yeah.
Might be.
I'm gonna start with me too.
Yep.
So, we have the bulletin
Oh,
board.
this building is
We-
building. Yeah, they should be on there.
Talk to me. So presently, if you don't have the Facebook and the Twitter that we're looking at, we have the bulletin board out front. We have the town website, but that's still kind of the media thing.
That's electronic.
And
Could we not put
things-
posters up in, I know you can put them up at Lockmere Post Office because it's both the post office and the residence, so you can put a poster there on the bulletin board. We can put something on convenience stores, you can put it in Billy's hardware store.
We have a bulletin board at the Hall Memorial Library,
Yeah.
just for Tilton.
So that's what I'm thinking.
So it's there now, or? Yeah.
Have you
Oh,
put
We're
it out?
doing pretty good. It just people need to check. And the other part of it is people might be really happy with things, not just content.
Wow, I don't
I have
know
a-
who you've been talking to, but those have been calling me here.
Here's one.
Question, and it gets a lot of exposure, but I know we've got the board out in front of Riverfront Park, and everybody drives by that board every day. So if we had a big public hearing that needed to be done, that would be one area where you're gonna get the visual exposure,
Oh, duh.
you know? So, and I know I drive by it probably 100 times a week.
Me too.
Saying if this is
Variable
for-
message board.
And public meetings.
We have one.
There is a difference, but the goal of both of them is to get the public in here.
But it's a good one.
Right.
So we can use it.
A public hearing is technically a much more
We didn't get the second one.
official,
I think that's.
but the point is what can we do to get the public in here when we discuss these topics? And I think all of those are good suggestions, and I think we should follow through on 99% of them. I'd be very happy to post posters up all over town for public hearings. So if we could create a template, then all you have to do is put in the reason and the date and time, location.
And have a compiled list of where.
But I think we should have like a like a town hall, not a town hall, Tilton Town Facebook kind of thing,
I'll make sure.
Who's going to moderate that?
whether it's Tim,
I'll be the administrator,
yeah,
the primary administrator.
And
Didn't I
then,
just see on the news, people are canceling their Facebook accounts because
Privacy.
somebody sold their stuff?
we'll lock it right in with it.
Joyce, you almost ready? Bless you.
Don't hold it in.
I know.
Did you have anything else? There's nothing else to say.
I'm voting yes to use the funds.
Same here.
It's always unanimous by those who are attending.
All right, let the motion stand then.
We already decided.
All right.
What I'd like to do is move up under status reports where I have senior center kitchen floor, because I know Pat is
Thank you.
a little under the weather. On Friday, March 9th, I met with, Jane let me into the senior center. Before I called Kevin Belanger, I wanted to see it for myself, so I knew when I was talking to him, I could explain what the problem is. So I got to see that, but there was just so much snow that you couldn't see if there was any way to get into the, if there's a way to get underneath the kitchen from the outside. So, but I knew what I was looking at now, so I called Kevin, and he said that he's been working out of state and that the person I need to speak with is his father, Ron. So I called Ron and that following week, and he, because there was still so much snow, he said, let's put it out a week. And so on Friday, the 23rd, I contacted Jane, and then she got back to me so that I told her we were meeting there at 9, and she said Emily LaPlante would be there. So Emily and I went in, and he went down through the crawl space in the utility room, and I asked him, I said, does that go all the way through to the kitchen? And he said, no, it stopped at that wall. Okay, so we went outside, and I said, I remember seeing where the pipes go in for the air conditioning system. It looks like there's a window or something, or there's a fuel pipe that goes through that. So we went out to look outside to see how he could access that, but there was just still too much snow. So he said, let's give it another week, and then he'll come back, and he said he would come up. And he did a walk around the whole perimeter. I mean, he spent quite a bit of time there.
The only access to the kitchen on either side
Mhm.
of the kitchen is that small window. There's 4 screws in it. We have to take the 4 screws out, which is by the air conditioning, on the outside, below the window that's next to the Coke machine.
Mhm.
It's about this big.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Okay, he has to crawl under there. And that only goes to the wall where the kitchen sink is.
Right, because the other side you get through
That's
the
right,
crawl
because
space.
that is the crawl space over there. But under the window in the hallway, on the opposite side of the asphalt driveway, there are 2 of those windows. There are 2 of those little windows. There's one further down that goes underneath the main floor
Right, but
in the hall, in
Okay.
the main hall.
so what you're saying is that going on the other side on there, that there is another window that goes underneath the kitchen.
So, yes.
Again, okay, there's still.
So, you know that, so in order to see where the dip is, where the window, where the door opens that scrapes that you can't open it
Yeah, we
anymore
saw
to get
that, yeah,
handy at?
yep.
Okay, that access to that underneath that floor is under, by the office window, underneath the office window, there's one of those little windows
Mhm.
that's screwed in,
Mhm.
and it has to crawl underneath there
And that will go all the way through to the
to
other
the
side.
wall where that door is.
Yeah.
Doesn't go through all the way.
Mhm.
There's a small opening to the left of there that you can crawl in underneath the kitchen part through there. But then on the opposite side, where the air conditioning is, he can get through all of underneath the kitchen, up to that wall.
Yes.
So, right where the threshold is of that door, he still has to access that underneath the main part of the hallway from that other side. You know what I'm saying now? So to see where it bumps up where that cabinet is over there, he has to come from that hallway to there.
Okay, so once he can get under there and actually see, and say he has to put in posts or replace joists, he's gotta have an easier way to get in there.
Well,
There is no easier way to get in there. There is absolutely no easier way to get in there. There's only those 4 to the basement. There's only those 4 access points, 2 in the hall, in the main hall, and 2 in the, that other part.
So is there any way to make a permanent access?
if it's
A
a,
well or a bulkhead or
It's not gonna
something?
make any difference, because you're gonna still, if you make an access in the middle of the kitchen, you're still gonna have.
No, from the exterior.
It's a
From the
belly
exterior.
crawling crawl space.
You can't,
There's no foundation. You can't, you put,
Oh, I know it's a crawl space, I know,
But
but just to make an opening wider so you can get,
there, from the
I wouldn't
top,
be able to do that.
so from
And this isn't
where the
elderly
ground
man.
is, Joyce, from where the ground is to where the bottom of the actual structure is, there's not enough space to do a bulkhead. You would have to cut down into the ground.
Or take out, just make the opening a little wider.
so you make your
It's
hatch, make your
Yeah,
hatch like longer.
No, I'm saying getting in from the exterior.
Right, that's what
Right.
you mean, instead
Yeah.
of having the little existing
Windows,
window,
yeah.
make it a little wider.
Yeah.
I think it pretty
you
well
can't
goes
go
up.
this way with it.
Right, I know that.
You can
Goes-
go this
yeah,
way
that
with it, but it's stone. So once you take out one stone, you may be taking out 2 or 3, and then
I
replacing it
understand,
with.
I understand, because you can see where they've done that
It
to
can
the
be done.
building underneath the
You can
ramp. You
ask them
can see
about it.
where you've got stone, and then it goes to some concrete block,
Right.
I
which
watched
was
Dennis
is
Allen
underneath
disappear, so
the,
why
where
don't
the
we-
bathroom is.
You ask him about it.
Sure.
Ask
So-
I
Kevin
just
about
think
it.
It's gonna be
I
different.
would hope, see, Kevin can't do it, his dad's gonna do it.
well, I don't think there's anything we can solve right now, but if he comes out and he thinks that he can't fit in there and do it, and Kevin can't fit in there and do it, we'll have to find somebody that's skinny enough and that's a carpenter to go in there and take a look and do it.
But he's
And-
willing,
Yeah.
he went in the other way,
Have him
he was
take-
down there
So,
quite a while.
Have him
not
take a
solve
look.
anything, John.
Yeah,
Not
so
gonna-
anyway, to finish, what I'm saying is that, so we're gonna wait till more snow left,
Yeah. Is it-
but, I'll tell
Okay,
him
right.
to, see if he can get
You know,
through
we
that.
just know that it needs to be repaired because right now we can't open the door.
Right.
Do you think, I think what needs to happen right now at this point, because we need a handicap access, is perhaps maybe ask Brock to take off that hallway door.
Okay.
And then that way, we could just set it aside in the hallway, and that way,
Pull the hinge pins out, take the
Hinge
door
pins
off,
off
and
and-
that'll be okay.
and we could do that and just set it aside, and that we have that, wheelchairs can get in and out.
Right. The door that I saw that had difficulty opening was you're in the office area going into the kitchen.
Right.
It's making a hole in the,
Well, we have people.
so that's the one that you want to
Right,
have taken off.
And we have
Okay.
people
'Cause you
that
said
are
the
on
hall.
wheelchairs that,
Yep.
that help serve the,
Okay.
napkins and fold and then
Yep.
put it on the tables. Well, they go through that door and they can't go through to that door
Yep.
at all.
But,
Sounds like a plan.
okay.
I think we're all set.
All right, so, I'll call him and then if he can,
I'll be
It's-
out there
how's the
tomorrow.
how's the snow now?
Mostly done.
It's not urgent. If we get done in the next 30 days.
All right,
you know,
yeah,
we'll
Brock
be
takes
good.
the
Fine,
door off.
it's fine, John.
Yeah.
It's really fine.
Okay. Is there anything else on my agenda that you wanted to, I could move things around? We don't have to do it in this order.
We're not making any major decisions on anything, are we?
Well, the things I needed decisions on were the island lights. You asked me if I had called Northfield yet. I have called them, but I didn't say, oh, we want you to pay part of this electrical work and explain it, because I was waiting to hear back from Josh, which I did.
And the estimate that I got from him, he said, yes, it's definitely a break in the line. I explained to him everything that you had done and what have you. And he said right now they'd have to wait till the snow left. And he said count on 1 day, but it wouldn't take full 8 hours, just to get an idea for an estimate. And I said, how many guys? And he said 2. And so maximum would be for 16 hours, and they charge $127.50 an hour. So I told him I'd call him back to find the break.
So I think we should let Dorothy know we have the estimate. I think we should go through that process.
Okay.
We have an estimate. We have the
Okay,
work to
so
do.
it's
See if they're willing to pay
$2,032.
for half of it,
Okay,
and then we can make the decision.
And that's one of
Next
those
week.
things that he could go out there and in 1 hour find what's wrong with it.
exactly.
Or he could spend the whole day.
Exactly.
So he has to,
It's going to be
not,
either is.
so you don't get surprises.
Right.
Absolutely.
And he's
That's
going
what
to
he
say that
said.
big one. And I think
Yeah, he said he would only charge for whatever.
he's familiar with that system.
Yeah. Okay.
So that would work.
All right, good. The other thing, I'll just skip down to with the Bittern Lane drainage
Oh, yeah. how do
from
we
last
do it?
week. Do you want to talk about that,
Sure.
Catherine?
Writing it out.
But my question that I'll be coming to the board with is that, you know, we found out who did it and why, but I think it would be in the town's best interest to let Brock restore the drainage swale, the original drainage swale that's there, because it's our property, except for the very end of the, where the whole pipe comes out. And it will be done right, and it's under your control. Whereas if the property owner brought back the landscaping company, it may not be done to necessary what you think how it should be brought back.
What part of that is under jurisdiction of wetlands and needs to go through DES to get done correctly?
It's an existing drainage swale.
But,
And Brock
even-
went back and looked at the images going back to, I think he said 2009, 2013, because he has the ability to, with Google Maps, to archive, to look back, and he could see exactly what the swale was like.
The ditch doesn't go all the way to the pond. It stops at, which obviously, a bunch of riprap, which was obviously part of,
Back over there.
which was obviously part of the original swale,
Here's,
and to keep the water from
are
rushing
you
in.
passing that one around? Here's another.
So DES
Dredge and fill.
requires, DES requires maintenance of treatment swales, and if you stand back on the road, you can see that was a treatment swale. You can see the dish of it, you can
Yeah.
see the outline of it, that was a treatment swale.
Here's another. Yeah, just,
So-
I have 3 copies.
I met there with a police officer who explained to me that you really couldn't charge anybody with a crime, and I'm not even trying to explain it to you because I really didn't understand why, but maybe the chief can. But I think the most important thing here is, I don't think anybody acted maliciously, whoever did it. I think the most important thing is to return it back to the treatment swale, because in the pictures I took in August, you can clearly see that the water was not rushing straight through a ditch, bringing that dirt with it, bringing all the litter and whatnot straight into the pond. It had meandered over the swale and then would go into the pond.
You checked your email recently?
No.
I just did.
5:21 PM?
I did get a message, and I
Okay.
was gonna bring that up.
What was it? I didn't get
Well, let me finish talking about the swale. I do think though, and I think Joyce is right, Brock researched his manual on stormwater management and whatnot, the treatment swale. He understands, and he could see what was there, and he's gonna return it as near as possible to what was there. But I do think that the Board of Selectmen should send a letter out to all the abutting property owners to let them know that if there is an issue with drainage on the town's property, they should contact the town property and not trespass again, or whatever language. Joyce is always good at that. I talked to Mark Bourgeois, who owns NB Tractor. He was, I can't say enough good things about the conversation. He was more than happy to do whatever the town needed for help. He offered equipment, he offered labor. He has no problem giving the Public Works Director permission. There's a tiny little section that affects him, I'm gonna say probably less than 10 feet, but he's more than willing to give permission for the town to go onto his property to correct it. So that was a win-win.
Okay, the other one is, our policy is that if mailboxes are in the town right-of-way and the snowplow hits them.
Can we just back up for
Oh,
1
sure.
second? The letter from Kathy Mitchell addresses clearly,
Different piece, different property, the trees.
no, violation of wetland permit.
Yes, that's on the property. I was gonna bring that up. We can talk about it now.
18 Bittern Lane.
She sent a message, and Chuck and I, when we came back up from Concord, pulled into Bittern Lane. So out on the Paula Hauser property.
Yep.
So you go down Bittern Lane to where it's no longer town property, and actually go onto the property, which is now belongs to MB. And there was an excavator out there working. They have clear cut.
So this hasn't, does anything, this is not near this section where that, okay, got it. All right, I'm good with that.
No, this is on
Got it.
MB property.
Okay,
That is way at the end of the road, and what has happened is they have clear cut to beyond the 20-foot from the
Gotcha.
shoreline that the town has.
okay.
I don't know how House Pond rates in the town system of water bodies, because they do have a rating system.
Uh-huh.
I know it's not a major river or stream, but it is a body of water. But they've certainly violated the 20-foot setback of the towns. So he asked me to address that with the board, and perhaps we could, through the Board of Selectmen, if we all agree, have you tell Dari that the Board of Selectmen would like him to respond and take the appropriate action, whatever is in the zoning. Okay?
Yeah.
And I don't know
Looks
if
like
the
she
board-
sent it to DES people.
Yeah, I think
I agree.
they violated the 20-foot buffer, and they're well aware of it. We've discussed it with them when they
Mhm.
brought their
Yeah.
plans in, and they went within it, and they've,
And I don't know how it impacts what the mitigation, the wetlands mitigation that they did through DES. That's a whole separate issue.
they're all supposed to,
Who, Paula Heiser or M&B?
M&B is the current owner.
Right, but they don't have a site plan or anything in.
Did I say site plan? I thought I said wetlands
Well,
mitigation.
no, you said that they were aware of that. You mean when Paula Heiser's plan was before everyone?
yeah.
Okay, because that's gone.
Yeah,
They're
right
not doing
now,
that.
what you have is,
But those wetlands are probably shown on those plans. So we could probably share those with,
but that, whatever they did for the wetlands, and I forget, I'm sorry, I don't know the proper name for the application they had to make with DES,
yeah,
stays with the property.
yeah,
So whoever bought it, which is MB Tractor,
yeah,
own.
okay.
And like I said, I have no idea if what they violated. The Conservation Commission may be much more aware of that.
Okay.
Yeah,
But they definitely come, they're probably 5 feet from the shore.
oh, yeah, this is,
They love
that's
some shrubbery.
very clearly a violation and should be dealt with by DES for that.
But I think we can only address what they've done in our zoning.
Right, our 20-foot buffer. And that's 18 Bittern Lane, okay.
They know enough to stop what they're doing and control erosion from,
Well, they haven't been
They
notified.
haven't been notified.
Okay, so. we'll-
Since I'm not code enforcement, and I was Chuck, we were going to, and I thought better of it and said, I think the proper official should go there and
so somebody should go out there tomorrow morning and immediately tell them to
cease and desist.
cease and desist
Mhm.
and notify them not to do a single thing and take some pictures of it. so that we can proceed with how that's going to be restored, or see what DES says when they show up.
Okay.
Yeah, first thing in the morning,
Dinner and Lane is just,
everybody wants to clear all the trees around Ice House Pond so they can have this beautiful view of their businesses and clear out the wetlands.
but I mean, there's so many things that it's like it's haunted.
We're just,
It's cursed.
as space runs out, everybody's
All right.
closing in on the wetland.
Next, Joyce?
Okay, Noyes Road resident, an individual called because their mailbox had been completely smashed and they can't put it back up. And I explained to her that our policy is if someone has their mailbox in the town's right of way and it gets hit by the plow, I'm sorry, they need to make other arrangements, like, move it back. Or, some people, I see a number of people, well, that they have their mailboxes in buckets so they can even move them. And so I said, well, that's our policy. I said, I'll speak to the Public Works Director and I'll talk with the selectmen.
That's why mine's next to the telephone pole. Figure there'll be collateral damage before mine goes.
They can also get a post office box. Policy for me the policy is policy.
Yeah.
It's the corner, as you drive in Noyes Road, because it's one way, because it's very narrow. We've had
So it's
it.
two-way until you get to the circle.
Till you get to the circle?
Well,
Okay.
circle's one way.
This has been an unusual winter. And so when you come in, you head down towards the lake, and when you come around, it's this corner. So when
The
the
lake edge or
the
the
lake
back?
edge,
Where they tore the house down and are rebuilding?
that I don't know. I just know that I looked at the address in the map. You can see where when the plow's going around that corner, you can see where it's tight.
So, I guess, how does everybody feel?
Policy,
Policy or-
policy.
Policy.
It's unanimous. It's
Okay.
unfortunate.
The other item is Holly Malloy. She works for George Rogers' company in Maine. He's a land developer. They own two little parcels of land, one by the river, and one of them is the one that has Timetable Mabel. And the town has a lease, and it expires in 2022. And she said they would like to just donate it to the town.
Nice.
And all they would ask for is just a letter acknowledging the donation and that we would set the value of what the land is. I looked at the assessment records and I can't believe, where Timetable Mabel is, that's assessed for like $4,400. And the other piece where we put the porta potty for the island concerts, that's like at $6,000. I mean, it's exempt property, so it doesn't.
Prime waterfront.
Yeah.
Well, it's there.
So I said, I'm sure the selectmen would love to entertain that, and Holly Malloy. And
John, do you know what that means? That makes it our shrubbery. On the Lake River edge.
I don't know what it would cost to convey it. I mean, do you want their attorney to draw it up? And all we would do is just say, yes, we would accept your donation. I mean, right now, we have our tax cards have it in the name of town of Tilton, which we don't own it. In fact, when the,
How do we get it in our name then?
That was confusion
Because-
years and years and years
yeah,
ago.
and also to keep it tax exempt.
About 17 years ago.
And then the registry of deeds, it's as, down.
It's theirs.
It's
It's
still there.
theirs, it's estate of Arlene Rogers. So we should have them,
I'd say that.
okay, and then what do you feel would be a fair price to offer? I mean, as I said,
Wasn't the price that's in the existing code?
yes, 6,400,
Purchase it?
No, we're not purchasing
We're
it.
just
They
conveying it.
wanted to assess value.
Yeah.
The value for .09 acres is
Figured
60.
against their taxes for.
Yeah, that's
doing it.
figured, yeah.
6,400, and the .1 is 7,200.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's what they assessed,
Even those.
assessors assessed it up.
I didn't want to actually send them these cards because it says town.
Well, the assessed value is different from the value, though.
True. Yeah.
My assessed value is much higher than what my value is.
Yeah, but she's using a base rate of 32,000 for an acre, and then it's adjusted for the size. But because it's next to the water,
Waterfront.
You can put your
waterfront,
launch
it's
there.
got an adjustment, but it's got a very low neighborhood code. It's got an S for a neighborhood code. A is like El Primo, Lake Winnipesaukee Estate. Okay,
For
so,
beach chair.
so that's, yeah, I think that will be,
I mean, we don't want to
Nice.
spend money on somebody going out there
So, we
and
have
assessing the
consensus?
value of
Yep.
it.
Right.
So I would just,
Consensus is
I would send it
assessed
the
value.
assessment on the cards.
okay. But I just would rather have them take care of all the legal work, since they're
Do
the
that.
ones that are selling it. And usually that's the way the seller provides the deed. Okay. And we don't have to take any action on it now, but I gave you, yeah, oh, good, we can go ahead and sign this. I just want to make sure everyone was here. When you called earlier and said, you might not make it, this is the conservation easement.
Yeah.
And I wanted to make sure that everyone's signatures were.
Oh, for the,
Yeah, for the
Crossing.
wildlife, yeah.
yes.
And I checked it and double-checked it and triple-checked it to make sure that Scott had put in the changes that we wanted. Okay, so this one you said no. You want me to keep going? Pat?
Oh, yeah,
You're
rallying
rallying
in there until
okay.
it's a few more minutes. and then
Okay.
I'm just-
What are we going to post a sign on it? Number 3?
Absolutely fine.
And when are we going to put up no hunting signs? Because they allow hunting in Buffalo Park.
Right, that is up to the Conservation Commission. They have a design of the sign, so I'll just have to ask them.
About posting the no hunting signs.
They'll be doing that. They're the ones that are managing it.
I bet Roy Wakefield would be willing to do that.
That's true.
In fact, I bet it would give him pleasure.
Main part.
Yeah, and I don't, I'll put that back in there after.
Reference receipts.
Yes, in the past, when Gail handles all the selectmen's receipts, and she does her deposit weekly unless we get a large sum, she does that. And in the event that if I'm the only one there and I'm collecting cash, what I've done in the past at the direction of the board, in fact, this was an issue with Joe Jessman when he was here, was that any receipt or cash that I receive has to go into the town safe. So Cindy asked that we not do that because she doesn't want to be responsible for it. So Gail and I talked about it, and we can do that. We do have a locked fireproof file safe, and many of them, and she will make sure that the money's held secure there. And I know where the key is, so I can put it in. So I just, you remember the things where you've been spoken to? And I remember being spoken to about that. So, but it came up, and I guess it became an issue with the town clerk, tax collector, and I can respect that.
But did Joe make that in the form of a motion? Or did he was that just a discussion and that was
I think it was discussion,
Okay.
and
So you don't need to reverse motion it?
okay, so that, just so you know, that cash receipts will be locked in the selectman's office. And this way we have a record of, that's the policy. And then the last thing, it's not on here for action items, the planning board, they met last night, and they have a letter from the Lakes Region Planning Commission that your term is expiring, John. And normally it's the planning board that recommends who's going to serve, and if you weren't going to serve, they would like to have a planning board member.
I'd like that. I really would.
They meet 6 times a year.
Well, I think the question they asked is,
I'm just-
would you still want to run And how many meetings were you able to attend? Because sometimes those
Okay.
meetings are in the middle of the day,
Yeah.
afternoon.
I found that they've been,
It's
at times,
difficult.
very difficult, and I've kind of almost overdone myself completely, so.
That's kind of what I thought. So, so I can relate, or I'll relate to Dari that,
Oh, yeah, really to start.
okay. So they will see if there's a planning or zoning board member that might be interested. Okay. And then I gave you a copy of my current job description and a draft advertisement. You don't have to take action tonight if you want to read it and make some changes, come back. I mean, I won't be putting anything in the paper until next week at the earliest, but just
Are
want-
you proposing to put the salary range in?
that's why I have it before the board, that you can decide if you want. I know that we've said in, oh, Gail's left already, I don't know if it was in non-public or public, what the range that I had recommended. Twice, I've said that, and once in writing and once at a meeting. And I believe in the budget, we have 75?
I think it's 75.
75, okay. Because I know that it's combined, because we had allowed for some overlap there.
What happens if we have, what happens if we don't have a town administrator that applies and we've already posted a salary range of 75 to 85? Can we drop that because we don't have a salary range? Then can we change that to like 65 to 85? Depend.
Oh, I think you can make it whatever you want.
I agree with your suggestion.
Yeah.
For a town administrator, we need to pay.
Mhm.
An experienced town administrator, we need to pay. I agree with that. I agree with your suggestion. However, if we don't get a town administrator, I don't want to get locked into the 75.
Couldn't we just say salary commensurate with experience?
You can say that.
Right, or put a max limit. Just,
Yeah,
I'm
not
just
to
looking
exceed.
here, like Indeed.com, and
Yeah, not to exceed.
it's, you know, that seems high.
We could do that too.
Yeah, I think best not
What-
put a number on it, if possible.
Yeah, and I put not to exceed 75,000, that's what we budgeted, which means we're not necessarily what we, whatever. I wouldn't even put a dollar figure. I put
Yeah,
commensurate
because
with
they
experience.
can come, I mean, they'll
Commensurate
know,
with experience.
they'll know to go look at the budget. And
They'll
they'll-
look at
and we
it.
know
Well, you
what.
hope they
Then I'll
will.
ask them.
If they don't,
And
they'll-
then-
If they're a good town administrator, they
Yeah,
know
oh,
right
yeah,
where to
they'll
find that
know,
stuff, so
they'll
that's
find
a
out
test.
some way.
Question number
Yeah.
one.
Okay,
It's a
so
good
that's
test for
good.
them.
So,
Yeah, so I would do that. I really
Yeah.
like what you say, exceptional opportunity for experienced town administrator. I read this before. I love it.
mhm.
So
So just say.
I say go for it. Let's do it and see what we get.
Yes, salary, now, and, I didn't put in there, full benefits and all that, because it's just a given. And it's a given that it's full-time. So,
It's amazing how, I mean, a lot of town administrators, it is a given, right? Because it's amazing how many people that apply for different positions that, in public government work, that they don't realize that they get benefits. Not town administrators, I'm talking about, highway. They don't
I can put in
realize
there
that they get.
exceptional benefit package.
I-
No,
Full
I
benefit, I
think
can.
that you're right. Town administrators are gonna know that. I like what you wrote.
Okay,
I really
thank you.
do. I like it.
All right,
But
so-
other than the salary range, I don't wanna get locked into it, just put down commensurate with experience and then, but I think we need to get it out sooner than later. Let's see what we get.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and make that change, just,
Mhm.
and
And
then,
then go for it.
yeah. And then you've got the job description, so if
Mm-hmm.
you wanna, and then I can draw up, I'll have for you a list of questions and suggestions for what, might need or be looking for certain skills, but
Yep.
again, that's really all up to you. And then I did speak with the department heads and suggested them that they would be, if they wanted to, in fact, I encouraged them to, I don't know if they will, is to communicate to each board member, either in writing to the whole board or however they want to do it, what they think they would like to see in terms of skill set or, you know, what's important to the town, what direction it should go, to let the board know. So some may do that, but they've all been offered that opportunity, or encouraged to take advantage of that opportunity. And then the other thing I want to stress, that it's important that we maintain confidentiality, because you don't want to, that they don't want to put their current position in jeopardy at all. So we were suggesting of having it addressed to the Tilton Board of Selectmen, and then under that, Town Administrator Search, and that the only person that will handle all that would be Gail. And she will keep track of everything. She'll send an acknowledgement letter, thank you, we received your letter of interest, your resume or whatever, and we will get back to you as we progress through the
That sounds good.
selection process.
I thought you were gonna look at some of these,
At any time that you want me to, I will, let's see.
that
what
you were
comes
going
in.
to be a part of this process and
I
stuff.
can.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
We haven't completed our hiring process.
Right, that's on our,
It's on our list,
where to go?
hiring process.
Oh, it's on the regular
Things I haven't
agenda.
forgotten about.
No, it's on the selectmen's agenda. So I'll go ahead and advertise in all of the professional organizations, and we'll see what happens. I know that there's a good relation between the Maine Municipal Association and the New Hampshire Municipal Association. Sometimes we jointly have our conferences together, and Maine laws are very similar to New Hampshire laws. So I could also advertise it through them. I think if we go outside, like to the Massachusetts Association or the Vermont, we'll just be inundated. People want to come, so it's unbelievable. Okay. All right. So do you want to do, the rest is just status reports. I do have a quick non-public session at the end of the meeting.
The hiring process sheet?
Yes, do you all have yours? I do have an extra one. Nobody brought theirs.
Did we have it before?
Yep. I'll just change the color of my pen and continue to work off this one.
I might have it. If I don't,
Okay.
Over and we'll share, do that.
We made good progress at the last meeting. You want me to quick run some copies off? You want me to quick run some copies off?
We might need that, yeah. A bit organizationally challenged.
Well, we really haven't got through the whole document, so before we go back to the beginning, should we just continue towards the end and then?
Check you first.
And then we'll go
Should
back.
we
and
make all
check
the
on
changes, go back to the beginning, just my thought?
you and John share.
Yep.
Would anybody else-
Worst case, we can share.
Okay.
We got as far as on the checklist to make sure we add a medical card for, that they must have a medical card if they drive a vehicle greater than 10,000 gross GVW.
When we go into non-public, can we talk about medical card?
Sure.
But it's a non-public item only.
Okay.
Just remind me.
I need a pencil.
Yeah.
I believe at 7:15. I think we try to get unless, you know. things-
It's what we can-
I really like to have meetings and letters like
That's great. Is there anything else that's really urgent pending that Ashley should have to participate in?
No, just that this, we're gonna finish
Working on
that.
that? Is there anything else on the selectmen reports she should know?
I'm going to be right behind you. I just wanted to share something in non-public, if we can go into non-public.
Do I do the non-public?
Go for it.
Okay, where's my cheat sheet? We're going to go into the non-public and get that taken care of, because Jean just got, so.
She's getting her exercise. Down, down. She stairs.
Okay, so I moved to enter into non-public session for the purpose of discussing personnel.
Yep.
You
Mine
need
is.
A, personnel,
to- you need to read it. The Attorney General's office would like us to read them.
okay, the dismissal, promotion, or compensation of any public employee or disciplining of such employee on the investigation of any charges against him, unless the employee affected has a right to a meeting, and 2, requests that the meeting be in the open, in which case the request shall be granted.
Second.
Second.
Constantino, yes.
Bog, yes.
Scanlon, yes?
that. John, yes.
Dawson, yes. I'm sure she's got the,
Oh,
Red,
I didn't.
What color is it?
red.
That's dark chocolate.
Isn't red on? Yeah, he's
Second
counterintuitive.
DV meeting.
okay, red is
you're
on.
great. You're great, Chairman.
Did you want to seal those minutes?
That's on. It's okay, make a motion to seal the minutes because divulgence of the information likely affect the reputation of any person other than the member of the body or agency itself, or render the proposed, do I have to read both of these? Proposed action ineffective. In the
Second.
event of such circumstances, the minutes may be sealed until the opinion majority of the members of or for said circumstances no longer apply.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Consensus. Okay, next thing. Make a motion to go into non-public session for the purpose of discussing per RSA 91-A3
D, was it?
D, considers acquisition, sale, or lease of real or personal property which, if discussed in public, would likely benefit a party or parties whose interests are adverse to those of the general community. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed?
It's red and it's recording.
Motion to seal the minutes of the non-public session until the matters are resolved.
Second.
A motion and a second to seal the minutes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Okay, so the next. Whatever you need to finish up.
Yeah, I'm done.
I have a question, Joyce.
Yep.
Have you set a date to meet with New Hampshire DOT? On
No.
Caliph and
No.
sinkhole and,
They're gonna get in touch with Brock, and Brock is gonna let me know.
okay,
And I'll
so I
let
want
you
to
know.
be there to discuss the sinkhole.
Yes.
Yes. We have some sawhorses or something around it, right?
I don't believe so. Brock is of the opinion that as soon as we touch it and do anything to it, we become liable.
No, we don't.
I think,
I've had that communication with the people that own the property, and they're very happy that we're fighting the fight with DOT. They did not install it, that pipe has been there way before the condominium was there.
True, but it's their property, and if it's, what's the word, if it's a noticeable hazard, there's a legal term for it, and it's on their property.
But all John is asking is,
Oh.
do we have something to protect kids from walking across it at night and falling in?
you know, I think as a public entity in municipality, that if we see an open pit in the ground just off the side of the road that somebody could walk into, especially near a school, in a place where people frequent the restaurant, we've got the brewery there. How hard is to just put a couple sawhorses around it to say, do that, and notify the property owner that we've
Backside?
done that, and that.
It's also within our sewer right of way.
Oh, yeah.
You got
But
all
I
that
think-
staging, you got that hole, it's,
It's dangerous. If somebody fell in there, or a kid fell in there, and maybe it sank more, and it's jammed into a pipe,
Yeah.
It's within our,
because we said, well, I'm not sure if we should, I'd say that should be a direct,
it's within our
objective thing.
sewer right of way. It's very near the sewer manhole. It's right next to it. It's right on the right of way.
Right, but did you read the legal opinion that I got from Municipal Association?
Yeah, and it didn't make any sense to me at all.
Didn't?
No, it didn't even sound, it didn't really pertain. It's not near the sidewalk. It's, if I'm on the sidewalk, it's at the end of the table.
Well, then how's somebody gonna fall in it if it's not near the sidewalk?
Kids walk across that lawn. If I come out of
It's
town.
private property.
you know what? I'll go home, I'll buy some sawhorses, I'll spray paint them orange, and I'll put them on there.
Why doesn't the condominium do
I'm
that?
thinking all I'm thinking is I don't want anybody to get hurt. I don't want people to fall in that hole. That's a good sized hole. And get sucked in. And I'll do it myself if we have to. I don't think we should know that there's a hole in the ground on somebody's property that they're not taking care of, and it's near a school. It's just, I don't know what other people think.
we got an even bigger hole right over here.
Canulos?
Yeah, and
It's
you
got-
got that staging all on the backside.
Yeah.
Yeah, Al checked with,
Fenced off.
a
The
couple different
fences,
authorities, and they said it's private property. They've got it fenced off.
somewhat.
And it's not, if it falls over, it's not gonna fall on the town's road. There's no liability. I mean, this hole is right next to the sewer manhole. So, I think that we have every right to go over there.
Right, but the chances are that the state is not gonna do anything about it.
I think that is so obviously the state's culvert, that if we fight the fight, the state's gonna fix their culvert.
Yeah.
It's not the town's. It was there long before any building was put on either piece of property, the schools or where the condominium is. It was naked ground,
And before sewer.
and it was before sewer.
And you have plans that show a culvert there.
Yeah, and I showed them to Brock. Then when the DOT came in to do some repairs, and I don't even remember the year,
Did back in 38.
28 or something,
like that.
there's the culvert, and they've got a station number on it.
Yes, it was.
That drained, that swale between the back of the condominium and where the high school is built was an active running brook. It wasn't just a swale, there was water flowing through there. It's all been filled in because of development. And that was put in to drain that under the road instead of over the road.
Okay.
You have to remember the topography there was completely different when that was put in than what we're looking at now. Deer Street, the intersection was not as it is now. On their map, New Hampshire DOT's map, that intersection, I think had a median in the middle of it and went off like a big Y, two things. They gave it a station number on their map.
All right, well, Well, make a directive to have him put something out there, make it a directive. That takes the liability off
Make that
him,
as a motion or whatever we have to do.
because it's private property,
Sewer right of way.
sewer right of way.
It's the sewer right of way goes through there. The sewer is right underneath that. It's right next to the sewer
Why
main.
isn't sewer doing something?
Because sewer didn't cause the problem.
I'm just saying, well, we haven't completely eliminated that, completely. We don't think it's sewer.
See, I don't get it. I don't go.
Well, you just have a right of way, it's not, you don't own the,
Correct.
so
Okay,
what does your
but if-
sewer right of way, you don't have a document that gives it a sewer right of way.
We have the right to go in and repair the sewer.
Right, but where's your plans when the sewer went in there? Do you have plans of,
Up there. Over there.
and who gave you the permission to put it in there? Who gave you the easement?
I don't know.
Most likely went in when the interceptor went in, so you'd have to go back to around 82.
I don't understand what's going on, because in the public's best interest and for safety of the public, the amount of time that we've spent discussing this, and discussing it a week ago, and discussing it 2 weeks ago, we could have just had Brock drop off one of those sawhorse things and just put it around it, and then notify,
And maintain it,
no, just,
and keep it up there.
and notify the owners and the state, saying that we've done it. Your property has a deficiency on it, but let's just err in the side of protecting the public from getting injured.
So if we do that, then we get to do them for everyone down the road?
If it
Well,
means saving
to
somebody
move
from being injured.
off the dime then, so move to have Brock put sawhorses, you want sawhorses?
Yeah.
I
That
guess
means
the
something.
cons weren't good enough.
Do-
You need to cone
They
it,
fell in
whatever
the
it
hole
needs
to
to
get
do,
sucked in.
to indicate to people that there is a hole there. I don't care
Why
if
don't we
it's
just put in a big coffer dam around it?
cones.
And then send a notice of deficiency to the owners.
Yeah, and let them start fighting in the fight for it. The owners or suspected owners.
Which owners are you referring to?
The condominium.
Similar to the
Even though the
Because
owners
it's-
of the problem aren't being notified?
No.
Which is
We don't know
DOT.
who the
Well,
owners
It's
of
it's DOT's culvert.
Yeah, but they're
And
saying no, they're denying it.
They're saying that, yes, because they don't
Well,
want
I'm
to go
saying
back to
for-
that plan.
Let's send a notice to the owners and the suspected owners. And say that we have put this up there and you know.
I think we only have to notify the property owners that while we are mitigating this with New Hampshire DOT on the ownership of the culvert, that unless there is great objection by them, we will continue to put up safety cones around the hole.
And that they should up their liability insurance.
I have no idea what kind of liability insurance they have, so why would I tell them to update it?
Well, say that they are liable if someone is injured on their property.
Well, I think that goes without saying. So if they come back and say, no, we don't want you to put up any cones, then we'll take our
Yeah,
cones
Of
no,
down.
course, they're not gonna say no.
Then we have a
They're not.
letter.
That means we have their permission to maintain it. I'm like John, I just worry about kids falling in it. I know it's not ours,
I just see too
we
many
know
people
it's not
get
theirs.
sucked into culverts and jammed.
Yeah.
I'd be horrified.
It's getting worse.
It seemed gross.
I'd be more concerned about the other, but that's just me.
Okay. I can turn this off. All right, the rest is just informational. Saturday, you're meeting at 10 o'clock.
Oh, The sand, in the sandbox.
And Catherine, you're gonna bring, I'm not gonna be able to attend, but if I give you the Andrews Road file with the maps and things and all the correspondence in it, you'll take that with you?
Yes, I will. Although I haven't,
Can Ms. Dory, if you can get a map of the soil types, a copy, we have one downstairs for that area.
I don't know if we have a map of the soils of that area,
It's right on the,
but he can get one. I think whatever we have, it's changed, the soil types
they
changed.
just re. they
The whole
just
mapping
redid-
of soils changed a few years ago.
Yeah. I know it was updated and they changed some of the codes,
Oh, they changed a lot of the codes.
but it's interesting.
Yeah, we could probably get that from
It's
I'd
not
be
supposed to
curious.
be dirt.
Soil Conservation Service, they might, Natural Resource.
Dari has, he actually has one posted up above his computer,
I
but
think
Dari should be able to print that off.
And I think there was one on the wall right above the plans downstairs.
Did he put one down there?
No, it's been there for 22 years.
Then
For
that
the
one's
flood map?
outdated.
You're talking
Then
about,
that's outdated.
you're talking about the Andrews Road area?
Mhm.
Basically sand and gravel. You're not too far from the lake and river. We have
That's what I'm
to,
saying, the state has a plan that shows what type of soil that is.
well, I don't care what, it basically, it's a esker area with a little bit of topsoil.
Whereas if somebody objects and says that, no, this is beautiful, lush.
Yeah, maybe an inch
That's-
or two.
And this U.S. Geological Survey and the mapping states,
Well, that only does when they did it. If I haul in loads of material, I've now materially changed.
anything else? Selectmen reports?
No, gave mine, can't think of any. I've got a horrible issue with that septic tank. Oh, I wanted to ask you that.
Oh, I forgot to get in touch with them.
That tank was pumped yesterday morning. It is today, this afternoon at about, or no, not even this afternoon. This is in Gaslight Village. So as of about 10 o'clock this morning, the liquid in the tank was 4 inches below the bottom of the, so the tank top is about 4 inches thick of concrete. So it's about 4 inches below that. So in 8 inches, it'll be above the top of the tank. The leach, less than 24 hours. About 24 hours.
Plus, the leach field's working in reverse.
The leach field has completely failed, whether it is because it's saturated with groundwater or it's just completely failed and won't take anything, I don't know. But when they pump it out, you visibly see all the water from the outlet, from the leach field side, pouring into the tank.
So it's actually creating a,
So they don't have a backflow preventer.
It's probably a good thing, because it would be coming out the sides of the bank.
Or perking down.
It's not perking. So
oh man,
they're gonna have to pump it again tomorrow. This is getting extremely expensive for Gaslight Village. Not that that's our problem, but since we're the people who hold the funds for this project, if we have any influence on the contractor to help them, to get them in there,
And maybe they could get some sort of emergency contingency money.
I don't know, but if they're gonna have to pump this every 2 days,
Until May?
yeah, it's almost like they need to have some type of, like, different type of system. It just goes right into a, a pump into a, injection pump into a truck or something.
put a big tank there with a pump on it, I don't
Like,
know.
yeah, like a big tank and an injection pump.
Just have a septic,
One manhole type with a pump.
just have a septic truck sit there and just continually pump it. I
Oh,
don't
milk
know.
truck,
I don't know what the solution is.
because that might actually
But
be
this
better.
is, yesterday morning was the, I believe, the third pumping of that tank since Saturday. That's a lot. And you look in there, it's almost clear. You know it's not septic, it's clear. You're looking into water.
They'd be better off with just a tank and not a leach field. Apparently.
I'm wondering if there's some way of closing off the leach field. So that the tank doesn't, you're closing that connection. At least that would buy them more time. I don't know how big the tank is, Byron's probably does, but I don't know how big the tank is, but it would certainly buy them.
So how long are they looking before they connect that up to?
The contractor, I don't believe, plans on being in there until what, May? I think the agreement says until weather allows, but I think there's telling Gaslight May.
As you say, weather allows us like now.
Coming to frost tomorrow.
Well, yeah, Beck and Bellucci starting the new crossovers at exit 20 there.
Are they?
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're putting those in.
so that's all I've got. I just.
Yeah, if there's anything we can do to help those guys out.
Why can't, isn't there one something about the basin project, do they have any plans? Or going to Franklin, see?
On what, sewer?
Yeah, did they put any sewer in through there? Was there,
No, we did, I've got it upstairs.
you guys did, so does it say who owns the property or who? Because I would have thought they would
The,
have
the
easement.
sewer thing that I have came out of the basement,
I said
it's
that.
like, I don't
I don't
know,
know if it's.
the beginning of sewer. So,
Because I don't even.
see what I'm saying, because I was looking for an old history, but that's an old line that goes through there, and it shows the sewer line.
Is this meeting stuff, can we?
Yeah, we can motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Do you want me to get it? Do you want to take time to look at it now? Or?
I'm starting to grate the chocolate there.
It's a long day.
Yeah.
It's been a very long day.
That's the
So-
first one. I'll bring it back.
Oh, so I don't remember to change. our
Is the
word.
camera off?
No, we do it right now.
Meeting adjourned.